Welcome back, everybody, to the Now Morning Show on TTT. We are also live on Talk City 91.1 FM, on Facebook at TTT Live Online, and also on YouTube. Just search for us, TTT Live Online. It is now time for us to go back over to Tobago, and we're continuing our conversation, Mars versus Venus, gender balance in marriage. My guest, Mr. Michael Stewart, Caribbean Coordinator, International Men's Day. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I am excellent and even getting better.
Very good to hear. What is happening with International Men's Day?
Well, International Men's Day is November the 19th, actually, but we have coming up on May 16th, World Day of the Boy Child.
World Day of the Boy Child.
This is the second time it will be celebrated, and particularly last year it was not recognized in the region except in Tobago, particularly. And we were on this very station, actually, that it probably was the only place that mentioned about the World Day of the Boy Child. And so that's May 16th, and we're looking forward to have a number of activities coming off for that event.
Why is it necessary to have a day called the Day of the Boy Child?
Well, because we have boys growing up with almost a lost, defective compass. And it is necessary for us to begin guiding our boy children so that they can grow up to be gentlemen. Not just a man, but to be a gentleman. And I think that we would have lost our directions in the time gone by as to how to direct them. And it's about time that this returns. But the World Day of the Boy Child really is a vision of the founder, Dr. Jerome Tillock-Singh, who is right there from Trinidad at the University of the West Indies. And so we support his thoughts and ideas concerning that and International Men's Day fully in order to be able to help stem the tide that we see going on with our males.
Okay, but with the exception of that day, what else is happening to help our young men?
Well, what we are actually doing, we've started doing it already, and I have, as the coordinator for the region, I've asked fathers, uncles, grandparents, and also women to post pictures active with their sons and their male children, not selfies, but doing things with them and showing them things, teaching them things, whether it's to swim, whether it is to repair something. There's the one guy who showed a picture with him cleaning out the fridge with his son and so on. That sort of thing, that is one of them that we are doing. Another thing that we are doing with our boys is that we want to gather together in a forum where we're going to talk about with our boys and ask, what is it you want from your dad? And then we hope to meet again at a later point with the men and say, what can you give to your son? Having heard what they want, what can you give to your son? And
yeah,
so
but
those
there may
are
be a
just
situation,
two of the line of things that we're going to be having coming
yeah,
up.
but there may be a situation where that young boy may not have that father figure in their life.
Right. And that's where the mentors come in, whether it is a man in your church, an uncle, or somebody who could just adopt somebody. There are boys that men would have mentored that are not their own children, and they may not have known them prior, but recognize that the boy is misguided and want to get a part of that.
What can we do as a community, though, for our young men?
Well, one of the things is that if we talk about gender balance and a number of things not happening to bring the balance. In fact, there's an imbalance. While we had the imbalance when it comes with the women coming off on the lower end, now we seem to be going the other side of the spectrum where the males are coming out with the other part of it. And so one of the things that we can do is, instead of being so critical to boys and males, let's recognize some of the pluses. Let's recognize some of the good things that our men are doing and our boys are doing, and cause them to be encouraged to aspire to new things.
Yeah, and when we talk about this gender balance, for some reason, society always seems to compare the progress of males and females, which is probably not good for either gender.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that I figure I need to put in here is that the United Nations has International Women's Day. You have a recognition of groups for violence against women. But yet, International Men's Day, November 19th, is listed on the calendar of United Nations as World Day of the Toilet. Now, you check that out and you ask me, are we getting the balance? And one of the things that we would love to see is that International Men's Day be recognized by the United Nations as International Men's Day. I think the toilet got the top notch off of the men.
I mean, but why is this big talk about, having a day to recognize the contributions of men? I mean, it's already noted. Why is it so important for us to have a day to commemorate these things?
Well, I would support that, because if we do it generally, then there's no need for a day, but we don't do it generally. And so it brings focus to the issues of men. And right now, the issues of men are not being viewed. And
what are these issues?
For example, last year, International Men's Day, we had screening for prostate cancer. You don't hear much about prostate cancer, testicular cancer, but you hear so much about breast cancer, and I'm not knocking that.
Then probably you're not looking at the station that actually focuses on things like this, because I have been here for a very long time, and we have forums where people come and discuss these things.
I was on this very station last year for International Men's Day talking about prostate cancer. So I know that this station does support it. And so what we want is to help more stations to be able to give that kind of ventilation to that issue and other issues regarding men.
But why do you think there is this imbalance?
Well, I think that because we might be competing with one another rather than looking for balance. So men have been trying to man up against the women. The women might be trying to compete. I don't know. I don't have the answer to it. Probably in the focus of trying to get to the bottom of this, we may be able to recognize what is creating the imbalance in the first place.
Do you think that women are becoming to, or have started outpowering and outshining men, that men start to feel a bit of insecurity?
Well, them outpowering and outshining women is something that I think we should use as a launching pad, as something to cause us to be able to appreciate and so on. As far as men looking at it as insecurity, I'm not too sure that men say, I'm insecure with a woman who's successful. I'm insecure with a woman who makes more money than I do. In fact, you hear men actually saying they are looking for women who are well settled financially and otherwise. So I think that the insecurity discourse is more or less the conversation that a woman probably makes about a man, but I don't hear that conversation with men. I've never heard a man say, oh, I'm so intimidated, or I'm so insecure because of a woman.
I mean, I've actually heard men talk about, they want to be the one with the power, if I can use that term. They want to be, the one working and bringing home the money, and the woman is the one who should be home, seeing about the kids. We still have that conversation.
And that is not a bad conversation either. You see, so it's not knocking out one and replacing the next. Some think that they want to be the one to be the caregiver and the person who takes care of the family, and I don't think we should knock that out of a man. And others figure that, hey, listen, I would like to have my woman go out there. She's more educated and she has a better positioning in the economic sphere. And that is also another conversation. And so what we need to do is find that common ground that we could be able to allow both to be able to exist to the interest of the person who is speaking.
And as a man, what initiatives, as we talked about the initiative for boys coming up, what else are we doing to have
well, this year I would like us to see, as we approach International Men's Day, us focusing on issues of colon cancer and some of the other health issues, because one of the things that men aren't readily attending to their health and to going to a doctor. So you'll find that more and more we'll look at that. We'll also look at the relationship between fathers and their sons. We believe particularly that boys will become very like their fathers, and girls would most likely select men similar to their fathers, even if they did not like the way their father
Why
was.
Is that?
Well, because it's where we have learned, it is inside of us, it is innate that a sibling, a child, an offspring mimics its parent. Inside of me is my son. Inside of a seed, the seed itself is a seed that represents the tree that it will become. That's a law, and those laws, whether we agree with it or not, does not change its fact that we will become similar to our parents unless something changes that consciously. But if left undone, we will just be just like our parents.
All right, Mr. Michael Stewart, Caribbean Coordinator, International Men's Day. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We were talking about gender balance and, some of the issues affecting men and how we plan to address those things. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Michael Stewart, for chatting with us via Skype from Tobago. Now,